The last invitation. Success was the only God I ever prayed to. For 15 years, I gave it all of my time and all of my energy. I built my kingdom, one long workday at a time. The price for this was very high. My name is Ethan. I live in a large glass apartment at the top of a tall building. From my window, I can see the entire city sleeping below me every single night. I have a job that other people dream of. I make more money than I can ever spend. My name is respected in my industry. On paper, my life looked absolutely perfect. But my apartment was always silent. The echo of my own footsteps was often the only sound I heard for days. I ate my expensive meals alone at a table for 6 people. I told myself that this was the cost of greatness. I believed that real success required total sacrifice. Relationships, friendships, and family were just distractions. I had made a choice many years ago. I chose the path of ambition over the path of connection. I walked that path alone, and I never looked back, or so I thought. Sometimes, late at night, a memory would appear, a small, unwelcome ghost from my past life. I would always push it away quickly and get back to my work. I would remember the sound of my mother's laughter in the kitchen, or the feeling of sitting with my father watching a football game on a lazy Sunday afternoon. Most often, I remember my best friend, Alex. We grew up together. We were like brothers. We made a promise that we would be the best man at each other's wedding. I remembered late night talks about our dreams for the future. His dreams were always about love and family. My dreams were always about buildings and success. I chose my dreams, and I left his world behind. I stopped calling him back. I missed his birthdays. I slowly and deliberately faded out of his life. It was a necessary sacrifice, I told myself. Alex would not understand my ambition. My old life would only slow me down on my journey to the top of the mountain. And I did reach the top. I was standing there, all alone, just as I had planned. The view was amazing, but the air was very cold and thin up there. Then, one Tuesday afternoon, the parcel arrived in my mailbox. It was not a ghost or a memory this time. It was a simple physical object from that other world. It was a thick, cream-colored envelope. My name was written on the front in a beautiful flowing script. It was not a bill or a business letter. It felt different. I opened it with a strange feeling of curiosity. Inside, there was a simple, elegant wedding invitation. It was heavy in my hand, like an object from a dream. 2 names were joined together with a small golden heart. His name, Alex, and the name of a woman I had never met, Sarah. They were getting married next Saturday. I stared at the invitation for a very long time. I read the names over and over again, Alex and Sarah. My best friend was getting married, and I didn't even know. I should have felt happy for him. That is what a normal person would feel. But I did not feel happiness. I felt a sudden crushing weight on my shoulders. It was a weight of 15 lonely years. It was a weight of all the missed calls, the forgotten birthdays, and the broken promises. It was the weight of my success. I looked around my huge, beautiful, and empty apartment. The silence was not peaceful anymore. It was loud and suffocating. It was the sound of my loneliness. All my awards on the shelf looked like cheap plastic toys. My expensive Italian furniture looked cold and unwelcoming. This was the kingdom I had built for myself. The invitation was like a mirror. It did not show me my successful face. It showed me a man who had everything, and also had absolutely nothing at all. I thought about what I was supposed to do. The logical next step was to go online. I would buy them an expensive gift from their registry, something impressive. Then I would write a polite, formal email. Congratulations. I wish you all the best. Sorry I cannot be there. It was the easy and expected thing to do. It was the action of a successful, busy man. It was the action of a stranger. And that is what I had become to him. I was now just a stranger from his past. But as I sat there holding the invitation, something inside me broke. The carefully constructed wall I had built around my heart finally started to crumble. I did not want to send an expensive gift. I did not want to write a polite, empty email. For the first time in years, I did not want to do the logical thing. I felt a powerful, irrational desire to be there. I wanted to see his face. I wanted to see the man who had chosen a different kind of life, a better kind of life. This feeling was a rebellion against everything I had built. It was a betrayal of my own rules. My God of success was demanding my time, but I did not want to give it. I looked at my digital calendar on my giant computer screen. My next day was full of important meetings about money and buildings and my future. I thought about the promise I had made to Alex as a boy. Under starry sky, we had promised to stand next to each other on our wedding days. I had broken that promise. I could not fix the past. I knew that. I could not get back the 15 years I had lost. But maybe, just maybe, it was not too late to change the future. It was an insane idea. It was illogical and unproductive. It would cost me time and money. It went against every principle of my successful life. And that is why I knew I had to do it. I had to do something that was not for my career. I had to do something that was just for my own soul. I picked up my phone. My thumb hovered over my assistant's name. Canceling my meetings would be a small earthquake in my professional world. I smiled and pressed the call button. "Hi, Sarah," I said when she answered. "I need you to cancel all of my meetings for tomorrow and Friday. A personal matter has come up that needs my attention." There was a surprised silence on the other end of the line. I had never done this before. "Of course, Mr. Grant," she said. "Is everything okay?" "Yes, Sarah," I replied, and it was the truest thing I had said in years. For the first time in a very long time, everything is perfectly okay. I ended the call before she could ask any more questions. A strange feeling of freedom washed over me. I had just taken the first step off my lonely mountain. I did not pack a suitcase. I did not write a note or plan my route. I just grabbed my wallet and my car key from the glass table by the door. I walked out of my silent apartment without looking back. I did not think about the work I was leaving behind. I was only thinking about the friend I was driving toward. I got into my expensive, fast car in the underground garage. But for the first time, I was not thinking about its speed or its power. I was thinking about its range. I needed it to take me home, back to the small town I had run away from, back to the world I had sacrificed for my ambition, back to Alex. The journey was long, more than 8 hours of driving. I drove through the night. The city lights slowly faded in my rearview mirror, replaced by the darkness of the countryside. I did not play any music. I just listened to the sound of the engine and the road. I let the memories come this time. I did not push them away. I thought about our childhood, the tree house we built, the time we got lost in the woods, the stupid fights and the easy laughter, the pieces of a life I had left behind. With every mile that passed, I felt like I was traveling back in time. The tall skyscrapers of my city were replaced by rolling hills and open fields. It was a world I had forgotten. I arrived in my old hometown just as the sun was beginning to rise. The streets were quiet and empty. The town looked exactly the same, but also completely different. It seemed smaller than I remembered. The buildings were older. A feeling of nostalgia, both sweet and painful, washed over me. I was a ghost visiting my own past. I drove past my old high school. I saw the small park where Alex and I spent countless summer afternoons. Every corner of this town held a memory I had tried to bury. I found the address from the invitation easily. It was a beautiful old hole on the edge of a lake. It was the kind of place Alex always said he wanted to get married in. The wedding was not for a few more hours. I parked my expensive car across the street, partially hidden behind a large oak tree. I felt like a spy. My car, a symbol of my new life, looked completely out of place here. It was too clean, too modern, too much like me, a strange and familiar land. I just sat there in the driver's seat and watched. I saw a flower delivery truck arrive. People carried in large bouquets of white roses and lilies. I saw a few faces I recognized from my past, old neighbors and classmates. They were older now with children of their own. They looked happy and content. They laughed and hugged each other. They were all part of a community, a shared life that I had voluntarily left. I was an outsider looking in. I thought about what I was doing here. What was my plan? Was I going to walk in there and pretend that nothing had changed between us? It was an absurd idea. What would I even say to him after all this time? Congratulations. Sorry I missed the last 15 years of your life. The words felt hollow and foolish. A strong wave of doubt washed over me. Maybe this was a huge mistake. It would have been so much easier to just send the expensive gift. That was the smart thing to do. That was the Ethan Grant thing to do. The man who always made the logical choice. The man who never let emotions interfere with his carefully planned life. But I was tired of being that man. That man was sitting alone in a glass tower right now. I did not want to be him anymore, not even for one more day. I watched as more cars arrived. The parking lot started to fill up. The quiet hall was slowly coming to life with music and joyful voices that I could hear from my car. I saw Alex's parents. They looked so much older, but their smiles were the same. Seeing them sent a sharp pang of guilt through my heart. They had always been kind to me. Then I saw him. Alex arrived, not in a fancy car, but in his father's old pickup truck. He was wearing a simple dark suit. He looked nervous and incredibly happy. He was surrounded by his new friends, his groomsmen. They were laughing and patting him on the back. He was the center of his own warm, bright universe. He was not looking for me. He was not expecting me. My absence was a finished chapter in his life. I was just a ghost he no longer saw. This was my last chance to turn back. I could put the car in drive and disappear. He would never know I was here. I could return to my safe, silent, and lonely world. I could be back in my office by Monday morning. No one would know about this moment of weakness. My perfect record of logic and ambition would remain unbroken. I thought about this for a long time. The engine of my car was still running, a low hum that promised an easy escape. The choice was mine to make. I looked at Alex one last time. He was looking up at the sky with a happy, hopeful smile. He was a man who knew the value of love and connection. He had chosen wisely. He had built a different kind of kingdom. It was not made of glass and steel. It was made of people, of love, of shared moments and memories. It was a real kingdom, and my kingdom. It suddenly felt like a prison, a beautiful, luxurious prison of my own design. I was the king, and I was also the only prisoner. I thought about the promise we made as boys under the stars. The promise was not just about being there. It was about choosing friendship over everything else. I had failed. I could not go back and fix that, but I could show up now. I could take the first small step back toward the world I had abandoned. It was terrifying. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. Every rational part of my brain was screaming at me to leave. But my heart, a part of me I had ignored for years, was telling me to stay. It was not about being forgiven. It was not even about him. It was about me. It was about choosing a different path, right here, right now. I took a deep, shaky breath. I was more scared in that moment than I had ever been before any important business meeting. This was the biggest deal of my life. My story was about a man who fought to get to the top, a man who sacrificed everything for success. But maybe that was only the first half of my story. Maybe the second half was about the man who realized he had climbed the wrong mountain, the man who was brave enough to come back down. I reached forward and turned the key. The powerful engine of my car went silent. The hum of my escape was gone. I was committed to this moment. The silence that filled the car was different from the silence in my apartment. This silence was not empty. It was full of hope, fear, and the possibility of a new beginning. I looked at my own reflection in the rearview mirror. I saw a tired man in an expensive suit. But for the first time, I also saw a flicker of the boy I used to be. I had arrived. I had made the journey back. Now there was only one thing left to do, the hardest part of all. I had to get out of the car. My hand rested on the cold metal of the door handle. This was the real line between my past and my future. A simple door that was the heaviest thing in the world. Outside that door was a world of connection, of messiness, and of love. A world I had told myself I was too good for. A world I now desperately wanted back. I was not sure what would happen next. Maybe he would be angry. Maybe he would not want to see me. I did not know, but I knew I had to try. The story of my success was finished. I had reached the end of that book, and the last page was empty and sad. It was time to start writing a new one. I closed my eyes for a second. I thought of my friend's happy face. I thought of what it meant to be a brother. I thought of what it meant to be home. Then I opened my eyes. My decision was made. I was done running away from my own life. I was ready to face the world I had left behind. It's a good way to practice English every day. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories.